report for the weekend of April 25th through April 27th. The astrology this weekend is really powerful. The good news is that this is the beginning of the end of sort of the most intense aspect that we have happening in astrology probably this year. This Mars Pluto opposition. I really like to be a positive um, astrologer. I like to contribute to this space in a way where I'm talking about the positive potentials of basically every transit. There's a lot of good to everything. There are multiple potentials of all transits in astrology, and this Mars opposed Pluto is no different. But when I was thinking about preparing the talk for today, I had a few different ideas. Like I was thinking about maybe I could do a list of the positive potentials of Mars opposed Pluto for the third and final time. And I ended up deciding not to do that because I really don't think that this is an energy that we should be leaning into, actually. It is a little tense, you know, but it's still important. And these tensions need to come to the surface. These difficulties kind of, it's time. We're at a point where the timing is right for this to come up. And so this is a good transit, just like they all are. We're always working to be moving forward and evolving and growing and learning. And that isn't always easy or comfortable, but it is always a positive process where we're hopefully moving in that right direction. I think it is also great this weekend to celebrate the fact that if this is sort of the culmination of one of the most difficult transits of the year, perhaps the most difficult transit of the year, then that coming to a head, that coming to an end is something to be celebrated. Okay, something to think about with timing is that this is the third and final time that Mars and Pluto have opposed each other. The first time was in November of 2024, and the second was in early January of 25. And that one may have more resonance with this opposition because Mars and Pluto were in the same sign and house. This really is especially powerful this month because Mars is, or this time, Mars opposes Pluto basically every 2 years. But it's a little extra interesting now because this is the first time it's happened with with Pluto and Aquarius. And Pluto is basically stationing right now to turn direct in very, very early May. I think it's May 4th or 5th. And so Pluto is basically standing completely still in the sky, which just makes it that much more powerful this weekend. And then Mars is coming off of a retrograde, again, sort of making it that much more powerful. So thinking about the timing could be helpful. Do you have any stories that started in November or perhaps in January that involve some of these themes that I'm about to get into? Also keep in mind that if it's not coming up for you, this could be coming up for people around you. This might be hitting a part of your chart where it's calm. There's nothing that really needs to be broken out, moved forward in this particular way for you. But even if things are calm for you, you can probably recognize that there are some people around you who have things really coming to a head for them. So that can make the world feel kind of intense too, to have those things going on for the people around us. So either way, this is a good weekend to go slow, try to relax, be productive. There's something very productive about this energy. It's a great weekend to be busy, to getting rid of things that you don't need, to be cleaning, just to be being productive, especially in sort of a letting go way. That's why I thought of cleaning or donating. Creativity is also really nice right now. I also think that Neptune here can be a little bit of the answer to us. Thinking about those things in your life. I don't want to take too long with this report, and I don't want to go on and on before jumping into the main signatures of Mars Pluto here, but just to say, in case you don't watch too much more, leaning into that Neptune and Aries, thinking about what it is in life that keeps you going. What do you care about so much? What is your purpose right now? You know, what is your mission? It might feel almost spiritual or mystical. You feel connected in such a strong and powerful way. That's what keeps you going. Having that in mind this weekend, as you just move through sort of productive tasks and kind of try to lay low, I would not lean into any conflicts. That's why I didn't want to do oh, here are the positive potentials of this aspect. I actually do think it's kind of a good weekend to, the astrology suggests, be productive, not really stoke the fires. It's not a good weekend for confrontation. There's enough of that going anyway, and people are sort of just ready to pop off. So there are calmer waters that are better for communication. And actually, the great news is that on Sunday evening, once we have the new moon in Taurus, once this moon, it's awfully close, it's already here in Aries. Once this moon, in just a couple of days at the end of the day on Sunday, comes to meet the sun, it's a whole different story. That is actually a beautiful new moon, and although it is connecting with this Mars Pluto opposition and will carry a bit of that signature, there's really a smoothing out that happens on Sunday. So this is really a Friday and Saturday thing. So go slow. Don't lean into any confrontations. Think about the things in your life that keep you going. What are you really here for? What do you love so much that you keep, it keeps you moving even on the hardest of days? It keeps you motivated. That should be helpful. Also reflecting on that timing of January and November. So Mars and Pluto often involves often involves power shifts and power plays. So themes around that could come up now. There was some timing around the election and then the inauguration with the first two transits here, which is sort of interesting. Also, in terms of power plays, power shifts, drawing attention to things that have been irritating, but maybe not in the most helpful way. We had the Luigi Mangione incident during the last conjunction in January. Just something to point out, I always say that Mars and Pluto can feel like you have something you want to say so badly, and you just can't stop yourself from saying it anymore. But saying it isn't really the right word. It is more about doing something. This isn't a Mercury transit, it's a Mars transit. So something very deep, Pluto, is coming up from underneath the surface, Pluto, to your conscious mind for you to sort of feel like you want to really do something about. And those two energies are really like pushing on each other. They're leaning against each other, making the other one feel stronger. So this is also something that can be personified. I see this quite a lot in astrology, that you end up finding yourself playing the role of the Mars or the Pluto, and you're interacting with someone who's in the other role. So one person sort of personifying this Mars and Leo, being very confident, very bold, very creative. And then someone personifying this Mars and Pluto, which is more emotionally detached and sort of future thinking, looking out for the collective, but not as much the individual along the way. Sometimes can sort of get lost in the shuffle. The emotional attachment isn't there. So be on the lookout for that. You know, it's good for things to come up that need to come up. It's good for things to come out that need to come out. Things can come up that have been hidden in the past. You might learn about things that you didn't know about before with a transit like this. It is also interesting to note, again, that this is a transit that we will have every 2 years for the next 20 years or so, with Pluto moving through Aquarius. So every time Mars comes around, about every 2 years, it will oppose Pluto. But this is just the first time it's happened. So it might be interesting to pay attention to what comes up, because this is a part of yourself that you will be sort of growing and evolving in the years ahead. It can be very productive and passionate if we channel this correctly. So I definitely encourage all of you to lean into the productive and the passionate side of this, but that doesn't mean that people around you are doing that too. So do be aware that others are sort of feeling a little funny at this time and might be a little keyed up. It can be an argumentative, sort of conflict-prone transit. I think that the new moon on the other side is a real blessing. Something comes out and then we can relax after. So some real productivity the first part of the weekend might lead to a really nice Sunday night and start to the week. It's also interesting to think about, what are the things that it really takes significant strife and tension in order for them to surface in your life? What is being repressed, right? When and why does it take such tension and such a significant moment for those things to come to the surface? Why does it take all that in order for them to come out? It might be interesting to think about that, because if we can sort of resolve the tension itself, it can be easier to resolve the issue rather than just sort of hyper focusing on the issue itself. Working with our nervous system, working to know that we can handle anything that comes up, to stay grounded and stable through the ups and downs of a tense weekend potentially, or a situation. You know, this is something that really may have been building over the course of the last week and a half or so. More specifically, I spoke a bit about how it might be feeling in terms of a longer cycle. But this Mars Pluto opposition has been within orb for a couple of weeks. So there may be a situation going on with you right now specifically that is feeling especially tense this weekend. But we're on the other side of this. We're moving to the other side of this. And very, very soon, we will have that Taurus new moon. I will be back early next week to talk about that. And things are really looking better in May. April has been an intense month. March was too. Feel free to check out the horoscopes on my channel, best viewed for your rising sign, for more information about all that. I'm working on May now, and it's a real treat because it is so many pleasant transits after some things that have been really unique and challenging and rare and era shifting. So take this weekend just to relax a little bit, to be productive, to adjust to all the changes, give people some grace if there's some acting out. Do your best not to lean into it. There are better times to talk about conflicts and try to resolve them. Lean into creativity. Remember what keeps you going, what you love, why you get up in the morning, these real missions that you have in this world, and that should help to keep you grounded and focused in a positive and productive way. Sorry to be so brief this morning. I appreciate you being here, and I will be back again on Monday. Have a great weekend.